These are 5 players whose value is on the rise. First up is Jabari Smith. I think Smith is poised to take a third-year leap this season. While it didn't look great in year 1, he definitely instilled some confidence in doubters last year when he improved his game nearly everywhere. The former number 3 pick made huge strides in his scoring efficiency last year, shooting at 45% from the floor and 36% from deep, up nearly 5% in both categories from his rookie season. He also improved on his free throw shooting, making 81% of his attempts from the charity stripe, and he increased his points, rebounding, assists, steals, and three-pointers made per game. While his scoring arsenal was and will continue to be a work in progress, he definitely contributes in enough areas to make him a great early target that should continue to pay more and more dividends as the season goes on. A couple of main things getting in the way of Smith reaching his full potential has been his ability to create off of the dribble and his lack of offensive touches. The Rockets just extended Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun, so both of them are going to command touches, as will Fred VanVleet. Either way, he's only 21 years old and he should clear nearly 31 minutes per game. The Rockets want him to be a part of their young core and their future, and I think this year he has the potential to be a nightly double-double threat who can chip in three-pointers and solid defensive stats. Number 2 on the list is Ivica Zubac. Zubac has always been a double-double threat despite only playing around 21 minutes per game for his career. But this year, he may see the least amount of competition he's ever seen for playing time, and I think he has a good chance to see a career high in workload. He's more of a traditional big that's capped by his scoring limitations, but with Paul George no longer there and Kawhi Leonard on the shelf indefinitely, he has a good chance to improve on his scoring this year. Over the last 3 years, he's averaged around 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks per night, while shooting at 64% from the field. And this is all in just about a little bit more than 26 minutes per night. If he got that number closer to 30, he could be one of the most consistent producing centers in the league this year. He won't get you threes or assists, and his free throw shooting will probably hurt you a little bit, but if you're looking for a stable center who has a very promising outlook for the rest of the season, he's a great target. Number 3 on the list is Deni Avdija. After breaking out last year in Washington, I think Avdija's arrow is pointing straight up now that he's in Portland. Shaedon Sharpe is supposed to be on the shelf for the next few weeks with a labral tear in his shoulder, which means Avdija should be starting for the foreseeable future. But I think even when Sharpe comes back into the lineup, Avdija should have some pretty good value. Avdija played a career-high 30 minutes per game for a terrible Washington team last year, and it translated into a career-best year for him. He ended up averaging nearly 15 points, a little bit over 7 rebounds, nearly 4 assists, 1.3 stocks, and knocked down a little bit more than 1 3-pointer per game. He also saw a huge jump in his efficiency, making nearly 51% of his shots from the field, up nearly 7% from the previous 2 seasons. He also shot at a career-high 37.4% from 3, and given that Portland is not supposed to be competitive this year, he could push for similar production whenever he's in the lineup. Ultimately, he's only 23 years old, and I think he'll benefit from being able to play the 3 or the 4, and I think the Blazers want to see what they have in him. I expect him to have some freedom with the ball in his hands, and for them to see what his potential could be. Number 4 on the list is Noah Clowney. The Brooklyn Nets may have the worst roster in the NBA. They are definitely starting to throw in the towel and move towards a youth movement, and I think Clowney could be a primary beneficiary. It took injuries for Clowney to see some real playing time last year, and even though the sample size was small, he looked really good in his 4 starts. In those games, he averaged around 36 minutes, scored around 11 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, dished out 1.5 assists, got 0.8 steals, and 2 blocks. He also knocked down 1 3 per game. With the Nets shipping out Mikal Bridges, there's a lot of speculation that Dorian Finney-Smith may be next. And if that happens, that would really unlock Clowney. Nick Claxton surprisingly and somewhat curiously signed a 4-year extension this past summer, but if he or Daron Sharpe would have been moved as well, that would also help Clowney's case. Clowney's really more of an investment at this point, but he's one that could pay off quickly, especially if he finds his way into the starting lineup. Number 5 on the list is Collin Sexton. Sexton is expected to be a mentor this year for a young, rebuilding Utah Jazz team. The Jazz have plenty of bigs, so his role as a starting guard on this team should be relatively safe. While he doesn't really do anything eye-popping on the defensive end, he is a steady source of points, shooting percentages, 3-pointers, and assists. He'll also get you around 1 steal per night, and he's also going to get you a rebound or 2. He seems to have put the injury woes from a couple of seasons ago behind him, and with him projected to start at shooting guard, I think he has a real chance to get his scoring average back up to where it was when he was in Cleveland. He's actually a great target in both points and category leagues, and with Talen Horton-Tucker and Chris Dunn out of the picture, I think he may push for a couple extra minutes per game this year. Also, there's always the potential of Jordan Clarkson being traded, and if that were to happen, that would only help Sexton's case. Those are 5 players whose value is on the rise. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and let me know which players you think are on the rise in the comments below.